Hey everybody, so good to see you back in my kitchen on this Tuesday afternoon. So we're about to cook up another summertime recipe that's going to help you age better and stay younger, right? That's the goal. All the cooking that I do is anti-inflammatory, and today is no exception. So today I'm going to be cooking up a slow cooker shredded chicken. So shredded, this is a great kind of Mexican flavor. Really tastes great if you're doing tacos. You can do burritos with it. You can put it on top of a salad, or just as a side dish, maybe on top of little crackers for an appetizer. It is very versatile and flavorful and really easy to make, even better. And the other thing that's good about it is it uses a seasonal food, which I always love to do because seasonal foods, as we know, have their most nutrients in them. They're also very reasonably priced when you go to the market, which is how I found these hatch peppers. So if you're not familiar with them, hatch peppers are, slightly spicy, maybe like between a serrano and a poblano in spiciness. It depends on the individual pepper. So we're going to roast these just to bring out the sweet, wonderful flavor of them. And I thought I would show you how to do that. We're going to use those roasted peppers in I'm going to use my Instant Pot, but I'll give you the instructions. If you have a slow cooker, crock pot, you can do this in a crock pot as well. So let's take a look first of all. When I was a little girl growing up, I used to love going to my grandma's kitchen because it always had these wonderful smells. And one of the things that was always going on throughout the year, it seemed, was my grandma making roasted red peppers. So I thought I'd show you just how she did that. I'm going to bring you up a little bit closer here so you can see what we've got here. This is what the hatch peppers look like, okay? So what you do, very simply, wash them off. A gas grill works well for this. What you do is you just put it on a very low flame and you let it sit, just like that. So with time, what's going to happen is the outside, the skin, is going to start to char. Let's bring it even closer in so you can see what's going on here. You might even be able to hear it. But this is the pepper sitting. It's a very low heat. I have it right now just about on between a medium and a medium low. I don't want the flame to actually catch the pepper on fire, but I want it to char this skin. The whole process, depending on how low your heat is, can take about 5, sometimes it takes 10 minutes. But I'll show you, because I did it ahead of time, anticipating this, just what a charred pepper looks like. So when you're done charring it, so here, I can actually show you right now, it's already starting to char. There you go. But periodically, I'll just come and turn it. If you're doing a sweet pepper, which is round, it's very easy to do. These hatch peppers, long and slender, it's a little tricky to get all the parts of the outside nice and soft. So I try to get the heat over most every portion of that outside of that pepper. So when it's done, I put it in a paper bag and let it sit. Why do I do this? The reason being that the heat from the pepper will create steam inside the bag, and it helps me loosen that skin in the end. So this was one of the green peppers that I charred early on. You can see it's pretty flexible, and the skin is just pulling away on its own. So let me pull you back a little bit so you can see more of my countertop again. And I'll show you how I do this. Now, usually I'll run this under water, but as you can see, this is pulling away. And it's all cooled at this point. It's probably been sitting in that bag for about an hour. I usually don't, I'm not that patient usually. So I know you can do this a lot earlier. It's just that it's a little bit hotter, you know, so you have to be careful about your hands. Right now it's nice and cooled. And in those couple of minutes, I was able to take off that skin. So for our recipe today, I'm going to use 2 of these peppers. I have this green one and I have this red one that I peeled earlier on. Now, the trick with this is for peppers, the seeds are what have the heat. So it depends on how hot your pepper is or how spicy you want to make it. Determines how many of those seeds you're going to put in. Let me just turn my pepper again. Here, let me show you what I've got going here now. You can start seeing it charring. I'll let this go a little bit longer, then I think I'm just going to turn it off so I don't burn it, and I can finish charring it later on. But so now I have, let's see, there we go. I want to show you the peppers that are here. Here we go. All right, a little bit of adjustment there. You don't need to see me. You can see what's going on down here. So remember, I just peeled this green pepper and the red pepper. I'm just going to take those tops right off. All right, you can see all the seeds that are in here. I am a little bit of a wimp when it comes to the heat, the picante. So I am going to remove the tops, and I'm going to remove, you can see there's some seeds in here right here. I'm just going to remove those. Let's see how many are in here. So the green one, I'm just going to slice it down the side and open it up so you can see. All right. So you can see there's still a good amount of seeds in here. I'm just going to rinse those off. I can tell already that there's some heat there because when I breathe, it's burning. But when it gets cooked into the dish, it'll be nice. It'll be a nice heat. All right. So what I'm going to do here, gee, I can't seem to get this to go right for me today. There we go. I'm just going to chop this into, it doesn't have to be very finely chopped. I would say roughly chopped, maybe 1/4 inch strips here. And that's probably good for our dish. Let me put it on a plate and hold it up so that you can see it. There we go. Those are our chilies. They're really hatch chilies. All right. Next, the ingredients will be our chicken. All right. So what's nice about this dish is because it is a slow cook and it'll end up falling apart. It also has a lot of seasonings and a lot of moisture from the broth that we're going to put in. So I don't really need to use a very fatty cut of chicken. I have some chicken breasts here that I have washed off. I will probably, they're actually, it's a little bit more than I probably need. I probably need about 2 pounds, and this is probably more like 2.5 pounds of chicken. Some large breast pieces. So I will probably cut those right before I'm going to put them in, and I'll probably cut it into, you know, maybe 2 or 3 pieces for each breast. I will also add in some onion. Always love onion. It gives a nice sweet savory flavor to the dish. You could use a red onion for this if you like. I happen to have a yellow onion. By the way, most of the recipes that I make are from things that I find around my kitchen. So I always look for things that I can use up. I have these onions that have been sitting in a basket over here. And I thought, oh, rather than use a red onion, I will just use these up. And same thing with the hatch peppers. I saw them in the market. They're in season. So I always like to find a dish that I can use them in because I know that they're really at their peak of flavor and freshness this time of year. So I'm going to again give this a rough chop. Probably cutting it into about 1/4-inch slices. And I might just leave them in slices like that. I don't need to chop it. So I have it just like so. And this, I would say, is about a medium-sized onion, medium to large. The paper on this one doesn't seem to want to come off, so sometimes when that happens, I cut the root off and then I start to peel the outermost layer of the onion off, if you can see how I'm doing it here. And the skin then just pops off as I do that. And I didn't actually peel the entire skin off. I just peeled up enough to get the paper to start popping off. And then I'm just going to chop this into my slices as well. So I have now about 2.5 pounds of chicken breast, skinless. I have my 1 onion chopped. I have my peppers chopped. I'm going to add in 1 can of diced tomatoes. I have Italian Roma tomatoes here. We'll be using those. All right. And oh, the other thing. So in my garden, I am growing tomatillos. So I thought, oh, that would taste great. I almost forgot about my pepper. Let's turn that pepper off. I guess he got a little bit, but this is perfect. This char is going to give it a nice flavor, and I'm going to peel off that charred bit, so it's going to be perfect. But I'm glad that I remembered to turn it off. Okay, so I now have tomatillos. Tomatillos, they're kind of like a tart sweet. They have the consistency of a green tomato. If you've never seen them, the inside looks like this. They taste great roasted as well. Now, if I had had time, I could have roasted these in the oven. I don't think you want to roast them over the stove, only because if they pop, they're really juicy, and you'll be getting all that dripping into your burner. So I think the best way is, if you want to do this, you could almost pan roast them if you wanted to get that char. But I'm just going to go with them raw like this. And I cut them into, I'm going to give this what I would call a rough chop. This will add a nice piquant flavor to the dish without being too strong or overwhelming. There you go. So there's my tomatillos. I had about 3 or 4 little ones here. I think 3 little ones was what I did. All right, so we're almost done, believe it or not. Very easy. What I want to do now is grab my Instant Pot. And as I said, I'm going to do the Instant Pot, quick, easy. It's going to be a 15-minute cook. If you are doing a slow cooker, then it will be more like 4 hours. If you do it on low, it's 4.5 hours. If you do your slow cooker on high, it's probably more like 3 hours. And again, too, it depends on how large your chicken pieces are, which is why I'm going to cut mine down a little bit. So the first thing I want to do is to put those chicken pieces in there. So let me just grab a cutting board. I have one that I like to use just for chicken because I can put it into the washing machine. And I am going to cut this into 2 pieces. Each one, and this one is a little bit bigger even. I'm going to cut it into 3. I think each one of these are almost a pound. These are organic pieces, which surprises me that they're so big, because usually the organic ones are a little bit smaller. But I'm going to turn on my Instant Pot in a bit. Let me just put in my ingredients first. So I'm just going to lay in my chicken. Oh dear. All right. We lost one. All right. Let me wash my hands. Okay. So I have my Instant Pot there. I've added in my chicken. Now, I'm going to turn this so you can see. I have it off right now, but as I do things, I'm going to layer in my peppers. All right, and I can tell these are going to have a little tang to it, so I'm not worried about the spiciness of the dish. I'm going to layer in my vegetables on top. Now, seasonings. What do we want, right? First, though, tomatoes. And I'm just going to rinse that with a little bit of water. I always like to get every last bit. All right. So, I've added in my ingredients. I'm going to add in a little bit of lime. All right, and as you here, this one's better. Again, using up something that's in my refrigerator. I have these limes in there, and they are very ripe. So I'm going to give the juice of one lime. If you like more of a citrusy note, add more. If you have a smaller lime, you could add more. This one is pretty small, but it's good enough. And I'm going to add in some vinegar. Now, you can add in your Italian white vinegar. You can add in some apple cider vinegar. I am going to add in my white wine vinegar only because it's almost done. Oh, maybe I can't open it. Maybe I'll go use the other one. Let's see. There we go. It's always something, right? All right. And I'm going to add in about 1.5 tablespoons of my vinegar. And again, I'm not too particular about exact measurements, but that also will add a nice zing to it, to the dish. Again, let's see, moving on. What spices are we going to use? We have paprika, chili powder, oregano, some cumin, and I'm going to add a little bit more onion powder just to give it a little zing. So let's start with the chili powder. Keep it in order here. I'm going to add in again about another 1.5 tablespoons of chili powder. So there's one. Now, if you don't have time or the inclination to be adding all of these ingredients, taco seasoning would do just the trick. All right, so I have this. I'm going to add in about 1 teaspoon of my onion powder. All right. As you can see, carefully measured, right? And let's see. You can add in red pepper, but I think since my hatch peppers are feeling a little picante there, I'm going to leave that out. I can always add some in later on if I want to give it a little bit more zing. I'm going to add in my cumin, which is again going to be about another 1.5 tablespoons of ingredients. And as I said, taco seasoning, or you can make taco seasoning up in batch and have it ready for when you want to make your dish. And I have an equal amount of my paprika, which is another 1.5 tablespoons. So this is going to give a nice, strong seasoning. All right. And again, another 1.5 tablespoons of my oregano, which I'm going to just do in my hand. That's about 1 tablespoon. And there's 1/2. All right. And then last but not least, I'll add a little bit of salt. Probably about 1 teaspoon of salt. And I have some homemade broth, again, in my freezer that I just thawed for this. Always comes in handy. And I want to add in about a half a cup of broth. Let's see. I'll measure it. Let's do that. Alrighty. Alright. There you have it. That is that. So, you don't even need to stir stuff up. It's going to cook down and onto the chicken, and everything's going to stay nice and juicy. So, as I said, I am going to use the Instant Pot, which is a high pressure cooker. If you are doing this in a slow cooker, what you can do is you can even mix up your spices ahead of time in that broth and pour it all over if you'd like to do that. I find that it just doesn't matter because it mixes in the cooking. But for a slow cooker, as I said, on low heat for about 4 to 4.5 hours. If you put it on high heat, you can probably do it for about 3 hours. At the end of that time, you should be able to pull out your chicken, and you take 2 forks and it should fall apart and be nice and shredded. You can mix it back in with those sauces and put it in a container if you're not eating it right away, or put it back in those sauces and serve it. I'm going to put it into my Instant Pot. So in order to do the Instant Pot, I'm going to turn my power on. Not the saute, sorry. I'm not used to looking at it this way. So I'm going to put in my pressure cooker, which is over here, and I'm going to have it on the high, and I'm going to put it in for 15 minutes. And that's it. It's ready to go. Now what happens is, I want to make sure that it's locked on top so that the steam doesn't come out. But I'm just going to wait for this to come up to pressure. Once it comes up to pressure, it will count down those 15 minutes. After that time, you can either leave it in and let it release naturally, or you can release your lock and let the steam escape a little bit more quickly. And then once the pressure is off, you will have your knob at the top will go down, and that will indicate that you're able to open up the top. Otherwise, you can't get in there. So that's it. That's the slow cooker chicken. How will you enjoy it, right? So I have some tortillas, some cassava flour tortillas that I have made. So tonight, I think what we'll do, let's see where I put it. Here we go. Tonight, what I think I will do is layer my shredded chicken onto my tortillas. And they're kind of sticky. I kind of rushed the process. Let's see if we can get some to unstick for us. Usually I use wax paper in between for this reason, but I experimented and I used arrowroot. I'm not going to take these out. They're too sticky. But usually I use tapioca, and I inadvertently grabbed arrowroot in the recipe, and I guess it makes them very sticky like that. So we'll live without a demonstration. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a tortilla. I'm going to layer my chicken on top. I have a wonderful salsa verde that I used with the tomatillos from last year even, that I had canned. So I'm going to layer that on top. You can layer on any kind of salsa that you have. That's great. You can layer taco sauce on it. If you're eating dairy, you can put cheese on top. I do not do that, but what I do is add on top avocado. Yum, delicious. And that makes a great meal. I'll probably put a salad next to that and be very happy and satisfied. Very alkalizing meal. It's because you're having a lot of greens with that, a lot of vegetables with it. And again, very simple, very easy to do. So I hope you get to try it. Let me know if you do. And if you'd like more recipes like this, head on over to my website, eveyschweig.com. I have lots of other recipes there. If you'd like the directions for this, please just PM me and I'll send them off to you. The ingredients, the list of ingredients are in the comment section. Please let me know how things are going, And I will see you soon. All right, have a good one. Hey, hi, buddy. How are you? Good to see you. Buddy says that hatch peppers are everywhere in Colorado. Yep, I think they're in season. All right, thanks for the comment. I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care now. Bye-bye.